And welcome into another edition of A Closer Look. I'm your host, Dwayne Nelson, and with me in the studio today is Amy Margaret McCall, and she is with Visit Kingsport, and I am so happy to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We're going to be talking about Christmas time coming a little early, but we always celebrate it that way. And this is the 75th running of the Santa Train. And that comes up on November the 18th. So
that's correct.
You are getting ready to get busy.
The elves are in full effect. We are in work overload mode.
Absolutely. For 75 years, how did this all get started with the Santa Train and all of that?
Sure. Well, in 1943, and it's so, ironic, we think about Kingsport celebrating its 100th birthday, if you will, and out of those 100 years, 75 years, we've had the Santa Train. So in 1943, what is now known as the Kingsport Chamber got together and wanted to come up with a way to thank, the people of Virginia and Kentucky for coming over to Kingsport to shop. And this just seemed like a great opportunity to, put Santa on the back of a train and throw out small gifts and things like that, but really bring joy to the people of Appalachia and just thank them for coming over to our region to shop.
And you have a lot of sponsors that are involved with you, and Food City being one of the bigger ones.
Oh, absolutely. Food City is a great sponsor. A great group of elves over there for sure. We have a new sponsor this year, Appalachian Power. Just made sense for them to come on board because a lot of their customers are along that route, and they wanted to say thank you. You've got, of course, the Kingsport Chamber, as it started there. CSX, we got to have them for sure. Without them, there is no train. And then you've got Souls for Souls, and that is a group that brings in clothing and toys and helps, kind of donate those items into the train. There's just so many working parts that without the sponsors, it just wouldn't be possible.
Now, a lot of people get on this train and head out the day before and go to, what is it, Pikeville, Kentucky?
Well, that's changed a little bit. Now we ride a bus up just because, that was taking a lot of rail time. So it just made sense for people to get a lot of our elves come from Jacksonville, Florida. So they have to fly in, and then they meet us here in Kingsport. We get on some motor coach buses and take those up to Pikeville, Kentucky. And then we will board the train so early that morning. When that alarm goes off at 4 a.m., I think I'm not a morning person, but if there's one person I'll get up for, it's Santa Claus.
Exactly. Everybody wants to get up early for him.
That's right.
So you have how many stops along the way?
There are 14 total stops. That does include the one there in Pikeville at Shelby Yard, and then also the final stop in Kingsport.
And you all have so much items that you are...
Oh my gosh, 15 tons. I can't even begin to imagine. But in years past, the crowds have been so large that we actually have had to bring in supplemental backup trucks. So we have crews from Kingsport. We rent box trucks, fill them with food items that have been packaged, and then we hit the back side of the crowd. So that way we're kind of just making sure we're working everyone who's there, making sure that they get a little bit of joy. Of course, we always tell everybody it's not necessarily about the gifts, but the experience. We've got a celebrity rider. We've got Santa Claus. Seeing that magical train is just an experience itself.
Now, we're talking a 110-mile route here, so that is a long route, and when you're making those stops, it really keeps you busy.
Oh, it does. And, so we start off early that morning, about 6:15 a.m., and we don't arrive in Kingsport until around 3 o'clock. And, it's really neat. I'm not necessarily a math or logistic person, if you will, but everything is calculated to the minute detail of, okay, we've got this many people in the crowd, so we've got 30 minutes here. And when you hear that horn blow, if you're an elf, you better be back on that train because it will leave without you.
Absolutely. Now, many of the attendees that go on this, like you say, are from Kingsport, but a lot of them are from out of state.
Absolutely. The sponsors, so as far as, we get a lot of calls, and it is truly touching because so many people want to volunteer for the Santa Train. Unfortunately, at this time, there's just so many safety regulations, and with 15 tons of toys that you have to get on and off out of one door, well, two doors, you just can't have as many people as they used to on the train. So the sponsors have a small number of elves that they can can have put on the train. But I know it's a dream of so many people, and we always keep a running list. But you know, sometimes it's hard to get people on the train, but it's just touching that their hearts want to be there because it's a time-honored tradition for so many families.
And another tradition is the fact that the day before, you all get together at Food City and start packing all this stuff together.
Yes, that will actually fall the Wednesday before the train. So this year, I believe that's on the 15th. We go out to the Northeastman Road location, and we have so many groups and individuals. So when people do call and want to volunteer, that's what I always tell them. Here is a great opportunity. After we pack all those bins, then we have a dinner and just kind of celebrate with each other, and you'll see families and faces, and they just want to be part of something that's so special to this region.
Now you're going to be stopping off not that far of a distant location here in Kingsport than you did before.
Right.
Where is this location at
Sure.
this time?
You know, if you're in that vicinity, you're still going to be correct. However, we're going to be at Centennial Park this year. So it's just on the other side of the Cumberland Marketing Building. So right there in that new beautiful park, we're actually going to have a separate event called Santa's Depot there from 1 to 4. So that is where the passengers and the train will stop, as opposed to the other end of Cumberland Marketing in between that building and Citizens Bank. So just a few hundred feet beforehand.
Right. Now there's going to be a lot of activity going on there. Of course, this year you have Ricky Skaggs.
Oh my gosh, and
who
people are
is
going
Mr.
wild. Yes.
Country bluegrass
Yes,
himself. I mean, really.
Oh my gosh, so many Grammy Awards, #1 hits. And you know, I heard an individual yesterday say, this guy has stayed true to his music for years and years.
Yeah,
he
he has.
hasn't conformed to, say, the trends and things like that. This is who I am, and I know that this is what, you know, my fans love, and people in this region love Ricky. They're so excited. This is the first year that I got an email saying, hey, I'm bringing musicians with me. So we actually kind of opted for a big stage this year, and I think it's going to be a great show.
So when he gets back to Kingsport, we can expect him to do some
Oh yes,
some songs.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's funny. In the past, I was always so weary of, well, they may perform because we couldn't get a firm commitment. Ricky was all in. Hey, I'm going to perform. I mean, is this going to be a problem for Kingsport? No, not a problem. We want you. We want you here. So yeah, and he's bringing in a band.
Oh wow.
So it's going to be really neat. And I mean, 75th running, you have to do it big.
Right. And then, of course, he'll be along the route as you're
Yes.
coming, and he'll probably do some songs there as he makes those 14 stops.
Yes. Well, the only place we guarantee he's going to perform is in Kingsport, which
Right.
we love that.
Yeah.
But he'll be on the back of the train. Lots of times they'll play his music. So it'll be a real experience at every stop.
Now, once you get back here, there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that folks can, if they're just kind of waiting or whatever,
Sure.
there's things to do.
Yeah, and in the past, you just kind of waited. We did have an MC and some fun music, but this year we're going to have what we're calling Santa's Depot. So when you come in, you're going to get, now this is for the children, so you'll get a passport. Each child will get a passport. They're going to get it stamped at each booth, and we hope that they can go to all booths, but it depends on the size of the crowd.
Right.
But they're going to have the opportunity to experience things like decorating cookies, writing an official letter to Santa, and Santa's going to get off of the train and take those letters onto the North Pole. I almost said the South Pole. No, the North Pole. But it's just going to be an experience for them. They're going to have the opportunity to interact. We've got Professor Photon, who is making a funnel for, he's going to have a marshmallow shooter. He's going to shoot those into the funnel, and the kids can catch it in their hot chocolate cup.
Awesome.
And then they head over, and Holston Valley's got hot chocolate and hot cider. So it's just going to be a fun time.
Well, it's like, can I be a kid again?
I know. We may have to make some rules,
Right, we do.
Because I could see my dad wanting to do those activities.
Exactly. Now you're going to have a big train that's going to be here as well, and
Oh my gosh, I just found out so much exciting news this morning. I've always been a lover of trains, but for the train historians, we actually will have not only the Clinchfield 800, which is the locomotive that pulled the 50th running of the train. It has been repainted and restored to just how it looked then. And that was a big deal then, because that locomotive had never been to the Southeast. That was the first time. It's huge. It's beautiful. That's going to be bringing the train in. But then we're also going to have the Clinchfield 100, which was the old manager's car. It's been restored. It lives in Jonesboro, but they're going to bring it over for the day and park it behind the CSX depot. So that's something else you can look at. Unfortunately, due to safety, and we always promote safety through, you know, this is an interesting day for CSX. It's very stressful. These guys are telling people 364 days out of the year, don't come to the tracks. Stay away from the tracks. And this one day we're like, come, enjoy. But you know, it's just, railroad safety is so important. So what we're gonna do with that is that, you know, people who wanna see that car, they can come and see it. Unfortunately, we won't be able to let people get into the car, but it'll still be a great experience.
Well, and it'll give people time to look around. And like you say, there's gonna be probably vendors downtown as well during this time, so folks can just kind of walk around and everything, even before the train gets here.
Yes, we're going to have inflatables. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot the most exciting part.
Goodness.
Live reindeer. We are going to have live reindeer in downtown Kingsport. That was a Christmas miracle, but we are so excited. So they will be there for Santa's Depot, and you can take pictures with them. And we just had a wonderful sponsor come on board and sponsor those reindeer. So that's actually what I'm looking forward to whenever I ride in Kingsport.
That's the part of the kid we want.
That's right.
Well, your message is for the folks here in the area, come out and sponsor everything that's going on and take part in it.
Support them, you know, and we have, you'll have to check the Santa Train Facebook page, but they'll have hashtags, so take pictures, post them, just show everybody what a special tribute we have in our region and how special is Kingsport to have Ricky Skaggs perform. It's just, it's a time-honored tradition, 75 out of 100 years here in Kingsport. It's amazing.
Thank you, Amy, and we encourage you to come out on the 18th of November.